You're experiencing existential emptiness, going through motions, feeling that life lacks meaning or purpose, while watching others seem fulfilled and driven by clear sense of why they exist. Recognizing that meaninglessness is not permanent condition, a temporary disconnect from purpose that already exists within you, waiting to be discovered or reconnected. Knowing that purpose crisis often emerges during transitions, loss, or achievement of goals that previously provided direction, leaving you adrift without compass. Understanding that searching for single grand predetermined purpose creates pressure and disappointment, while discovering purpose through exploration, values, and contribution feels authentic and achievable. And losing years to emptiness, depression, and directionless drifting, because lack of purpose removes motivation, meaning, and energy, making daily existence feel hollow and pointless, making purpose discovery absolutely essential for transforming meaningless existence into engaged, fulfilling life worth living with clarity, direction, and deep satisfaction. This meaningless trap is systematically undermining your life by creating lack of motivation and energy, because nothing feels worth effort when life seems pointless, causing depression, hopelessness, and despair from believing existence has no meaning or value, preventing you from making decisions or commitments, because without purpose you cannot determine what matters or what direction to pursue, damaging relationships through emotional withdrawal and inability to connect deeply when you feel hollow inside, and ensuring decades pass in empty drifting, watching life happen without feeling truly alive, making purpose discovery critical priority. Finding purpose when everything feels meaningless is not about discovering single predetermined destiny, but about creating meaning through values, exploration, and contribution. Not about waiting for purpose to reveal itself magically, but about actively constructing meaning through deliberate choices and engagement, and not mysterious gift for lucky few, but accessible process. This audiobook teaches how to find your purpose through 10 comprehensive frameworks, including understanding existential meaninglessness and its causes, exploring your core values and what matters, identifying your natural strengths and talents, discovering what brings you joy and aliveness, connecting to something larger than yourself, creating meaning through contribution and service, experimenting with different paths and possibilities, building purpose through daily practices and choices, healing wounds, blocking purpose connection, and integrating all elements into comprehensive purposeful life, making existence feel meaningful, engaged, and worth living. Stop drifting in meaningless emptiness and start living with clear purpose and deep fulfillment. Stop feeling hollow and start feeling alive. Master 10 frameworks systematically, explore deliberately, and discover your purpose through unwavering commitment, starting now. Chapter 1. Understand existential meaninglessness and its causes. Chapter 1 understands existential meaninglessness and its causes, exploring why life feels empty and what creates purpose crisis, enabling compassionate self-understanding. The understanding requirement shows that meaninglessness has identifiable causes, not mysterious affliction without explanation, making comprehension possible and hope justified. That purpose crisis is often temporary transitional state, not permanent condition, where understanding natural rhythm of meaning loss and rediscovery provides perspective. That exploration of causes reveals specific triggers and circumstances, creating emptiness, enabling targeted response rather than generalized despair. That normalizing existential questions and meaning struggles reduces shame and isolation, making you recognize this experience as fundamentally human, not personal defect. And understanding that systematically understanding existential meaninglessness through crisis recognition, cause exploration, and accepting temporary nature is essential first framework for finding purpose, because comprehending why everything feels meaningless creates foundation for reconstruction, making understanding critical. First step toward rediscovering or creating meaning that transforms empty existence into engaged, fulfilling life. Understand existential meaninglessness and its causes. Explore why life feels empty. Understand crisis or remain confused. The meaning crisis recognition identifies specific manifestation of emptiness you are experiencing. Meaninglessness appears in various forms, including existential vacuum, where life feels hollow and pointless with nothing seeming to matter or provide motivation. Loss of direction, where you once had clear purpose or goals, but now feel adrift without compass or sense of where you are going. Achievement emptiness, where reaching long-pursued goals leaves you feeling unexpectedly empty, realizing accomplishment did not provide anticipated fulfillment. Transition disorientation during major life Changes like career shifts, relationship endings, or milestone birthdays that disrupt previous sources of meaning. Depression and anhedonia, where clinical mood disorder removes ability to experience pleasure, meaning, or connection. And spiritual crisis, questioning beliefs, values, or worldview that previously provided framework for meaning. Recognize your specific experience through honestly examining what changed or when emptiness began, identifying whether this is first experience of meaninglessness or recurring pattern. Noticing whether emptiness is pervasive, affecting all life areas or specific to certain domains, and distinguishing between situational meaninglessness triggered by circumstances versus clinical depression requiring professional treatment. Recognition creates clarity about what you are actually experiencing, enabling appropriate response. The cause exploration uncovers specific trigger circumstances and factors that created or contributed to meaning loss. Common causes include major life transitions disrupting established identity and purpose, like graduation, retirement, relationship changes, or relocation. Achievement of major goals leaving vacuum in pursuit that organized life is complete. Loss and grief following death, divorce, or significant endings that remove people or activities providing meaning. Burnout and exhaustion from overwork or chronic stress depleting energy needed for meaning making. Values misalignment, living life inconsistent with core values, creating internal emptiness despite external success. Comparison and social media consumption, highlighting others' apparent purpose, creating sense of deficiency. Lack of autonomy or control, feeling life is happening to you, not chosen by you. Disconnection from others through isolation, loneliness, or superficial relationships. Absence of contribution or service, focusing solely on self without giving to others or causes. And unresolved trauma or wounds, creating emotional numbness that blocks capacity for meaning and engagement. Explore causes through reviewing what changed before emptiness emerged, examining whether current life aligns with authentic values and desires, assessing whether basic needs for connection, autonomy, and competence are met, identifying whether external pressures or expectations replaced internal guidance, and recognizing patterns from past if this is recurring crisis. Understanding causes reveals that meaninglessness is response to specific conditions, not inherent permanent state. The temporary nature acceptance recognizes that meaning crisis is often transitional period, not permanent destination. Meaninglessness frequently emerges during liminal spaces between one chapter ending and next beginning, when old sources of meaning no longer fit, but new ones have not yet emerged. Accept temporary nature through understanding that purpose often disappears before being rediscovered or recreated at deeper level, recognizing that questioning and crisis can catalyze important growth and transformation, allowing yourself to be in transition without rushing to premature answers, and trusting that engaging with frameworks and exploration will reveal or create new meaning. Acceptance of temporary nature provides hope without denying current pain. The depression distinction separates clinical depression requiring professional treatment from existential crisis requiring meaning work. Clinical depression involves persistent low mood, loss of interest, inability to function, changes in sleep or appetite, and sometimes suicidal thoughts lasting weeks or months. If experiencing clinical depression symptoms, seek professional help through therapy and potentially medication, as biological factors may impair capacity for meaning making that psychological work alone cannot address. The cultural context understanding recognizes that modern culture often exacerbates meaninglessness through emphasizing achievement over being, promoting constant comparison through social media, fragmenting communities, reducing belonging, and providing fewer traditional meaning structures like religion or clear life scripts. The normalization practice reduces shame through recognizing existential questions as fundamentally human universal experience, not personal failure. Reading philosophy, psychology, or spirituality, exploring meaning reveals this search spans history and cultures. The implementation requires recognizing specific form your meaning crisis takes, exploring causes and triggers that created emptiness, accepting crisis as often temporary transitional state, distinguishing clinical depression from existential emptiness, understanding cultural factors, normalizing experience as human universal, and treating understanding as compassionate foundation, where confusion intensified suffering, making comprehension essential. First framework providing context, hope, and direction for purpose discovery journey. Understand existential meaninglessness and its causes. Explore why life feels empty. Understand crisis or remain confused. You understand now that meaninglessness has identifiable causes, not mysterious affliction. that crisis is often temporary transition, not permanent state, that exploration reveals specific triggers, that distinction from depression is important, and that Chapter 1 provides understanding framework making compassionate self-knowledge possible where confusion perpetuated despair. Chapter 2. Explore your core values and what matters. Chapter 2 explores your core values and what matters, identifying fundamental principles and priorities that create foundation for authentic purpose and meaningful life. The values power shows that purpose emerges naturally from living according to core values, because alignment between actions and deeply held principles creates inherent sense of meaning and rightness. That clarity about what truly matters provides compass for decisions and direction, when external markers of success or others' expectations no longer guide you. That values-based living creates fulfillment independent of circumstances or achievements, because meaning comes from integrity and alignment, not outcomes. That disconnection from values is primary cause of emptiness, where pursuing goals misaligned with authentic self creates hollow achievements and existential void. And understanding that systematically exploring core values through identification, clarification, and alignment assessment is essential second framework for finding purpose, because values are internal compass pointing toward what will feel meaningful, making values exploration critical foundation for building life that feels intrinsically worthwhile regardless of external validation or achievement. Explore your core values and what matters. Identify guiding principles deeply. Discover values or drift aimlessly. The values identification discovers fundamental principles and qualities that matter most to you, creating hierarchy of what is truly important versus what you have been conditioned to pursue. Core values are enduring beliefs about what is fundamentally important, like integrity, authenticity, creativity, connection, growth, contribution, freedom, justice, compassion, courage, or beauty. Identify values through reflecting on peak experiences when you felt most alive, fulfilled, and authentic, asking what values were being honored in those moments. Noticing what makes you angry or upset, revealing values being violated, since strong reactions indicate something important is being transgressed. Considering people you admire and what qualities they embody that resonate with you. Imagining your ideal day or life and identifying what values would be expressed. Examining what you cannot compromise on, revealing non-negotiable values, and using values lists or card sorts, ranking importance of different principles. Write down top 5 to 7 core values that feel most essential to who you are, distinguishing between authentic values that come from within versus adopted values absorbed from family, culture, or society that may not truly resonate. Values identification reveals what actually matters to you, not what you think should matter, creating foundation for authentic purpose. The priority clarification ranks values in order of importance, recognizing that while you may hold many values, some matter more than others, requiring explicit hierarchy for decision-making when values conflict. Clarification involves comparing values pairwise, asking if forced to choose between these two, which matters more. Testing rankings against real decisions. Examining whether your actual choices reflect stated priorities. Identifying whether stated values match lived values, or if gap exists between what you say matters and how you actually spend time and energy. And accepting that priority rankings may shift across life stages or circumstances, requiring periodic reassessment. Priority clarification creates clear hierarchy, enabling decisive action when multiple values compete for attention, like choosing between career advancement requiring time sacrifice versus family connection requiring presence, forcing explicit choice based on what matters most. Clarity about priorities prevents paralysis and regret by providing framework for difficult decisions. The alignment assessment measures consistency between current life and core values, revealing gaps where misalignment creates emptiness. Assessment examines how daily activities and time allocation reflect values, asking what percentage of time is spent in ways consistent with what matters most, whether career and work align with values or violate important principles, if relationships honor or undermine values, whether environment and lifestyle support values expression, and what specific changes would create better alignment. Calculate alignment by listing core values, then rating current life 0 to 10 on each value, identifying specific gaps. Misalignment creates existential emptiness even when life appears successful externally, because internal integrity is compromised. Alignment assessment reveals that meaninglessness often stems from values betrayal, where you achieve goals that matter to others or meet external standards while abandoning what matters to authentic self. The values-based goal setting creates objectives that honor core values rather than external expectations. Instead of asking what should I achieve or what do others expect, ask what goals would express my values and create alignment. Goals become meaningful when they serve values, like if connection is core value, goal might be deepening specific relationships. If creativity matters, goal might be regular artistic practice. Or if growth is valued, goal might be learning new challenging skill. Values-based goals feel inherently worthwhile because they express what matters, making achievement fulfilling regardless of external recognition. The values articulation practice clearly names and describes personal values in own words, creating explicit conscious understanding. Write statement for each core value explaining what it means to you specifically, how you know when it is being honored or violated, and how you want to express it in life. Articulation transforms vague sense into concrete understanding, enabling deliberate values-based living. The values reminder system keeps values conscious and present through environmental cues. Write values on cards placed where you will see them. Set phone reminders prompting values reflection. Or create visual representation of values displayed prominently. Regular exposure prevents unconscious drift from what matters. The values review schedule periodically reassesses whether values have shifted or whether life alignment has changed. Review quarterly, examining whether stated values still resonate, whether priorities have shifted, and whether alignment has improved or degraded. Values can evolve, requiring ongoing reflection. The implementation requires identifying core values through reflection and exploration, clarifying priority ranking when values compete, assessing alignment between current life and values, setting goals that honor values, articulating values explicitly, creating reminder systems, conducting regular reviews, and treating values exploration as revealing internal compass where disconnection from values created emptiness, making values clarity essential. Second framework for purpose foundation, providing direction, meaning, and fulfillment criteria. Explore your core values and what matters. Identify guiding principles deeply. Discover values or drift aimlessly. You understand now that purpose emerges from living according to values, that clarity about what matters provides direction, that alignment creates fulfillment, that misalignment causes emptiness, and that Chapter 2 provides values framework, making internal compass discovery possible where values disconnection created meaningless drift. Chapter 3. Identify your natural strengths and talents. Chapter 3 identifies your natural strengths and talents, discovering what you do well and what comes naturally, creating foundation for purpose built on authentic capabilities. The strengths power shows that purpose often involves using natural abilities, because exercising strengths creates flow, engagement, and satisfaction, while struggling against weaknesses feels depleting. That talent provides direction toward domains where you can contribute meaningfully and achieve mastery, creating competence that enables valuable service. That developing strengths accelerates growth and achievement more than fixing weaknesses, because building on natural foundation produces better results than forcing improvement in areas lacking aptitude. That many people overlook or dismiss strengths, taking for granted what comes easily while fixating on deficits, missing opportunities to leverage natural gifts. And understanding that systematically identifying natural strengths through talent discovery, assessment, and development is essential. Third framework for finding purpose, because strengths indicate where you can create value with less effort and more joy, making strength identification critical for discovering sustainable, fulfilling direction rather than pursuing paths misaligned with natural capabilities, creating struggle and burnout. Identify your natural strengths and talents. Discover what you do well. Find strengths or ignore abilities. The talent discovery reveals natural abilities and aptitudes that come easily to you, often so naturally you may not recognize them as special. Talents include patterns of thinking, feeling, or behaving that feel innate, like natural ability to connect with people, understand complex systems, think strategically, solve problems, creatively organize information, persuade others, teach concepts, care for those in need, analyze data, see patterns, or generate novel ideas. Discover talents through reflecting on what comes easily that others find difficult, noticing what you do naturally without training or effort. Asking others what they observe as your strengths, since people often see our gifts more clearly than we do. Reviewing feedback and compliments over time, identifying consistent themes in what others appreciate. Noticing what activities make time pass quickly, creating flow state. Remembering what you enjoyed and excelled at as child before socialization. Shape choices and identifying what you find yourself doing voluntarily without external requirement or reward. Write a comprehensive list of potential talents and abilities, without dismissing or minimizing anything that comes easily, assuming if it is easy for you it must be common, when often your ease indicates genuine strength. The strengths assessment systematically evaluates and categorizes capabilities, providing structured understanding. Assessment tools include formal strengths assessments like Clifton Strengths via character strengths, or standout identifying signature strengths through research-based frameworks, creating personal strengths inventory listing all abilities, skills, and positive qualities across categories, like interpersonal, intellectual, creative, physical, technical, or emotional strengths. Seeking 360-degree feedback, asking multiple people who know you well what they see as your strengths and where they observe you. Excelling and analyzing past successes, identifying what strengths contributed to achievements, revealing capabilities that produce results. Assessment provides external validation and structure, helping recognize strengths you might overlook or take for granted, while categorization creates language for articulating abilities. The signature strengths identification determines which capabilities are most central and essential to authentic self, distinguishing core defining strengths from peripheral abilities. Signature strengths feel energizing, not depleting when used, feel authentic and genuine, reflecting true self, come very naturally, requiring little effort to demonstrate competence, and create sense of excitement or engagement when opportunities arise to use them. Identify signature strengths by noting which capabilities you are drawn to use whenever possible, which feel most like essential you, which others recognize as distinctive, and which create flow when exercised. Focus purpose exploration around signature strengths rather than trying to use all abilities. The weakness acceptance acknowledges areas lacking natural talent without shame, understanding that everyone has different strengths and nobody excels at everything. Accept weaknesses through recognizing that not being good at something does not make you deficient, just differently talented. Understanding that attempting to build purpose around weaknesses creates struggle, while leveraging strengths creates ease, and either delegating, managing, or accepting limitations in weak areas rather than forcing improvement. Weakness acceptance frees energy to develop strengths. The strength development deliberately cultivates natural talents through practice and skill building, transforming raw ability into refined capability. While strengths come naturally, they still require development to reach potential. Develop through seeking opportunities to use strengths regularly, building competence, pursuing training or education in strength areas, accelerating growth, finding mentors or role models who excel in similar strengths, learning from their development, and practicing deliberately at edge of ability in strength domains where natural talent makes challenge enjoyable. Development transforms talent into expertise. The strength application finds ways to use abilities in service of goals, values, and contribution. Application asks, how can I use my strengths to serve my values? What problems or needs could my strengths address? Where could my abilities create value for others? And what roles or activities would allow strength expression? Purposeful strength application creates meaningful contribution. The complementary strengths recognition identifies gaps where others' strengths complement yours, enabling collaboration rather than trying to develop weaknesses. Build teams or partnerships where different strengths combine, creating collective capability exceeding individual limitations. The strength language development articulates abilities clearly, enabling communication about what you offer. Practice describing strengths specifically with examples rather than vague statements, building vocabulary for self-presentation. The implementation requires discovering natural talents through reflection and feedback, assessing strengths systematically using tools and frameworks, identifying signature strengths that are core, accepting weaknesses without shame, developing talents through deliberate practice, applying strengths toward meaningful goals, recognizing complementary abilities in others, articulating strengths clearly, and treating strength identification as revealing natural direction where ignoring abilities. Limited purpose possibilities, making capability recognition essential. Third framework for building sustainable purpose on authentic foundation. Identify your natural strengths and talents. Discover what you do well. Find strengths or ignore abilities. You understand now that purpose often involves using natural strengths, that talents provide direction toward meaningful contribution, that development amplifies natural abilities, that acceptance of weaknesses frees energy, and that Chapter 3 provides strength framework, making capability discovery possible where ignoring abilities prevented sustainable direction. Chapter 4 Discover what brings you joy and aliveness. Chapter 4 discovers what brings you joy and aliveness, identifying activities and experiences that make you feel most engaged, energized, and fully present. The joy power shows that purpose almost always involves activities that bring genuine enjoyment, because sustainable, meaningful life requires intrinsic motivation that comes from loving what you do, not forcing yourself through obligation. That aliveness and engagement indicate alignment with authentic self, where feeling energized, absorbed, and present signals you are doing something suited to your nature. That flow states where time disappears, and you lose self-consciousness reveal optimal fit between challenge and capability, pointing toward domains where purpose may reside. That many people dismiss joy as frivolous or selfish, pursuing what they should do rather than what brings genuine fulfillment, creating lives that feel like prolonged obligation. And understanding that systematically discovering what brings joy through mapping recognition and flow identification is essential fourth framework for finding purpose, because joy is compass pointing toward activities and domains where you will sustain engagement, making enjoyment critical indicator, not optional luxury in building meaningful life. Discover what brings you joy and aliveness. Find what makes you feel alive. Identify joy or ignore compass. The joy mapping systematically identifies specific activities, experiences, and conditions that create genuine enjoyment and positive energy. Joy sources vary widely across individuals and might include creative expression through art, music, writing, or making, intellectual engagement through learning, problem solving, or discovery, physical activity through sports, dance, or nature, social connection through deep conversation, collaboration, or helping others, solitude and reflection through meditation, reading, or contemplation, sensory experiences through beauty, food, or aesthetics, achievement and mastery through accomplishing goals or developing skills, or contribution and service through making difference or adding value. Map joy through keeping joy journal for several weeks, noting what activities make you feel energized, happy, or engaged. Rating daily activities on enjoyment scale, identifying patterns in what brings pleasure versus what drains energy. Remembering peak experiences throughout life when you felt most alive, fulfilled, and happy, identifying common elements. Noticing what you do voluntarily in free time without external requirement or reward. And asking what you would do if money were not concerned. Revealing what you genuinely enjoy versus what you pursue for income. Joy mapping creates comprehensive picture of what brings authentic pleasure, distinguishing genuine enjoyment from activities you think you should enjoy or that others value, but that do not actually energize you. The aliveness recognition notices moments when you feel most present, engaged, and fully yourself, indicating alignment with authentic nature. Aliveness differs from mere pleasure or entertainment, involving deeper engagement where you feel energized rather than passively consuming, absorbed and focused rather than distracted, and authentic, expressing true self rather than performing role. Recognize aliveness through paying attention to when you feel most energized and alive, noticing what you are doing and who you are with, identifying activities where you lose track of time, becoming completely absorbed, noticing what makes you feel most like yourself, most authentic and genuine, and observing what you talk about with enthusiasm and animation, revealing what genuinely engages you. Aliveness indicates fit between activity and authentic self, providing powerful signal about where purpose may reside. The flow identification recognizes flow states where optimal challenge meets capability, creating absorbed engagement. Flow psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi describes flow as a state of complete immersion where you are fully concentrated on task, action, and awareness merge, removing self-consciousness. Time perception alters, often seeming to pass quickly. Intrinsic motivation drives activity, making it inherently rewarding, and you experience sense of control and competence. Identify flow through reflecting on when you have experienced these characteristics, noticing what activities create such absorption you forget surroundings and time, recognizing what challenges engage you completely without overwhelming, and understanding that flow indicates sweet spot between boredom from insufficient challenge and anxiety from excessive difficulty. Flow experiences point toward domains where your skills meet meaningful challenges, suggesting directions for purpose exploration. The joy restoration recovers connection to enjoyment if depression or burnout has dulled capacity for pleasure. Restoration includes treating clinical depression through therapy or medication if diagnosed, addressing burnout through rest and boundary setting, starting with small accessible pleasures, rebuilding capacity gradually, and practicing gratitude and appreciation for simple joys, cultivating positive attention. Reconnecting to joy may require healing before full mapping possible. The pleasure versus meaning distinction understands that while purpose involves enjoyment, it requires more than just pleasant sensation, needing sense of significance. Purpose combines both hedonic pleasure from enjoyment and eudaimonic meaning from significance. Seek activities that provide both pleasure and sense of doing something worthwhile. The guilty pleasures examination explores whether activities you enjoy but judge as frivolous or shameful might actually indicate important values or needs. Many people dismiss genuine sources of joy as unworthy when actually they reveal authentic interests and strengths worth honoring. The energy assessment tracks which activities energize versus drain you, providing data about sustainable pursuits. Keep energy look, noting how you feel before and after different activities, identifying patterns in what gives versus takes energy. Purpose should generally energize more than deplete over time. The implementation requires mapping joy systematically through journaling and reflection, recognizing aliveness moments when feeling most engaged, identifying flow states indicating optimal challenge, restoring joy capacity if diminished, distinguishing pleasure from meaning, seeking both, examining guilty pleasures non-judgmentally, assessing energy patterns, and treating joy discovery as revealing compass where dismissing enjoyment as frivolous prevented finding sustainable direction making. Pleasure and aliveness critical indicators, essential force framework for purpose discovery through following what genuinely makes you feel alive and engaged. Discover what brings you joy and aliveness. Find what makes you feel alive. Identify joy or ignore compass. You understand now that purpose involves genuine enjoyment, not obligation, that aliveness indicates authentic alignment, that flow reveals optimal fit, that energy assessment shows sustainability, and that Chapter 4 provides joy framework, making pleasure compass discovery possible where dismissing enjoyment prevented sustainable direction. Chapter 5. Connect to something larger than yourself. Chapter 5 connects to something larger than yourself, transcending individual concerns through service contribution and belonging to communities or causes. The transcendence power shows that meaning often emerges through connecting to purposes beyond personal gain, because human psychology finds deep fulfillment in contributing to something that will outlast individual life. That self-focused existence often feels empty regardless of personal success, because we are fundamentally social beings needing sense of belonging and contribution to thrive. That service and contribution create reciprocal benefit, where helping others generates meaningful help are often as much or more than for recipient. That connection to causes, communities, or traditions larger than individual provides context and significance that personal achievements alone cannot create. And understanding that systematically connecting to larger purpose through cause exploration, community involvement, and legacy consideration is essential fifth framework for finding meaning, because transcending narrow self-interest addresses fundamental human need for belonging and significance, making contribution and connection critical elements of purposeful life, not optional additions to self-focused pursuits. Connect to something larger than yourself, serve beyond individual concerns, transcend self, or remain isolated. The cause connection identifies missions, values, or problems that resonate deeply, creating sense of calling to contribute. Causes might include social justice issues like equality, poverty, or human rights, environmental concerns like conservation, climate, or sustainability, education and knowledge like increasing access or advancing understanding, health and well-being like fighting disease or improving care, arts and culture like preserving traditions or supporting creativity, community development like strengthening neighborhoods or building infrastructure, or spiritual and philosophical pursuits like deepening wisdom or expanding consciousness. Connect to causes through reflecting on what injustices or problems upset you most, revealing what matters enough to motivate action, identifying what you wish were different in world, pointing to what change you want to create, exploring areas where you have personal experience with problems, providing insight and motivation, and noticing what causes capture your attention and imagination through reading or conversation. Cause connection provides direction for contribution, creating sense that your efforts serve something important beyond personal benefit. The community involvement creates belonging and shared purpose through participating in groups working toward common goals. Communities might include religious or spiritual groups providing shared values and meaning frameworks, volunteer organizations serving causes or populations, professional associations advancing fields or practices, interest-based communities gathering around shared passions, local neighborhood or civic groups strengthening immediate community, or online communities connecting people across geography around common interests or purposes. Engage communities through identifying existing groups aligned with your values or interests, participating regularly in activities and gatherings, building relationships and integration, contributing your strengths and abilities, adding value, not just receiving, taking on roles or responsibilities, increasing investment and belonging, and building genuine relationships with members, creating social connection. Community involvement addresses isolation, providing belonging and creating collective purpose larger than individual concerns, where working together towards shared goals generates meaning through collaboration and mutual support. The legacy consideration reflects on impact and contribution that will outlast your lifetime, creating significance through enduring influence. Legacy involves asking, what do I want to leave behind? What difference do I want my life to have made? What would I want to be remembered for? And how can I contribute to the future beyond my existence? Legacy might include raising children or mentoring next generation, passing wisdom and values, creating work or art that endures, providing continued value, contributing to causes or institutions that will continue serving after you are gone, preserving or advancing knowledge, traditions, or culture, or improving systems or communities, creating lasting positive change. Legacy consideration provides long-term perspective that places daily actions in context of enduring significance, transforming mundane into meaningful through understanding how small contributions accumulate into lasting impact. The generativity development cultivates Erik Erikson's concept of generativity, which is concerned for establishing and guiding next generation through productivity and creativity. Generativity includes mentoring younger people, sharing knowledge and experience, creating things of lasting value whether children work or contributions, and taking responsibility for improving world for those who follow. Generativity provides meaning through extending impact beyond individual life. The interdependence recognition understands you are part of larger web of relationships and systems where your well-being connects to collective well-being. Recognizing interdependence includes seeing how your actions affect others and environment, understanding how you depend on others and systems for well-being, and accepting responsibility for contributing to collective good, not just individual benefit. Interdependence awareness motivates contribution. The gratitude practice appreciates what you have received from others, communities, and world, cultivating desire to give back. Gratitude includes reflecting on support, help, and gifts received throughout life, acknowledging debt to those who came before, and feeling motivated to pay forward blessings received. Gratitude naturally generates desire to contribute. The service engagement finds concrete ways to contribute to others or causes through regular action. Service includes volunteering time for causes or organizations, using professional skills pro bono for worthy causes, random acts of kindness in daily life, or supporting causes financially. Regular service creates meaning through tangible contribution. The meaning through suffering transformation finds purpose even in difficult experiences through using hardship to help others facing similar challenges. Many find deep meaning through turning personal suffering into service, like supporting others with same illness or advocating for those experiencing injustice they endured. Suffering transformed into service creates redemptive meaning. The implementation requires connecting to causes that resonate deeply, engaging communities, creating belonging, considering legacy and lasting impact, developing generativity through guiding others, recognizing interdependence, motivating contribution, practicing gratitude, inspiring giving back, engaging regular service, transforming suffering into helping, and treating transcendent connection as addressing fundamental need for significance beyond self, where self-focused isolation perpetuated. Emptiness, making contribution and belonging essential. Fifth framework for meaning through serving something larger. Connect to something larger than yourself. Serve beyond individual concerns. Transcend self or remain isolated. You understand now that meaning emerges through connection to larger purposes, that service creates reciprocal fulfillment, that community provides belonging, that legacy consideration adds significance, and that Chapter 5 provides transcendence framework, making contribution possible where self-focus perpetuated emptiness. Chapter 6. Create meaning through contribution and service. Chapter 6 creates meaning through contribution and service, finding purpose in helping others and adding value systematically. The service power shows that helping others is one of most reliable sources of meaning, because contributing to others' well-being creates immediate tangible sense of purpose and fulfillment. That service shifts focus from self-absorption, which often intensifies emptiness, to other-oriented engagement, which naturally generates meaning through making positive difference. That contribution validates worth and significance through concrete evidence that your existence matters and creates value. That help us higher one glow from helping involves genuine neurological and psychological benefits, making service intrinsically rewarding, not just morally admirable. And understanding that systematically creating meaning through service by identifying opportunities, engaging regularly, and measuring impact is essential. 6 framework for finding purpose, because contribution provides immediate accessible path to meaning available regardless of circumstances, making service critical practice, not optional addition where self-focused existence perpetuated emptiness, while other-oriented contribution generated fulfillment and significance. Create meaning through contribution and service. Help others add value. Serve meaningfully or focus solely on self. The contribution identification finds specific opportunities to help add value or make positive difference, matching your abilities and circumstances. Contribution opportunities include direct service, helping specific individuals through volunteering, mentoring, caregiving, or support. Cause-based service, advancing missions or organizations aligned with values. Professional contribution, adding value through work or expertise. Creative contribution, making art, writing, or other creations that enrich others. Knowledge contribution, teaching, sharing information, or advancing understanding. Community contribution, strengthening neighborhoods or local groups. Environmental contribution, protecting or improving natural world. Or micro contributions through small daily acts of kindness and help. Identify opportunities through exploring volunteer programs or organizations in areas you care about, offering skills or expertise pro bono to worthy causes, finding ways to add value in existing roles or relationships, creating something that serves or helps others, and noticing everyday opportunities to assist, comfort, or support people you encounter. Start with accessible, low-commitment opportunities, testing fit before major commitments. The service engagement develops regular, consistent practice of helping and contributing, creating sustainable meaning, generating habit. Regular service means scheduling specific recurring time for service activities, making contribution habitual, not occasional. Choosing service that genuinely interests you, ensuring sustainability. Balancing service with self-care, preventing burnout that makes helping unsustainable. Tracking service activities and impact, maintaining awareness and motivation. And gradually expanding service as capacity allows. Engagement transforms occasional helping into identity as contributing person, where service becomes integral part of life, not exceptional act. Consistency matters more than intensity, where small, regular contributions generate more sustained meaning than sporadic large efforts. The value addition focuses on actually helping and creating positive outcomes, not just feeling good about trying. Effective service includes understanding actual needs of those you serve, ensuring help is wanted and useful, not just well-intentioned. Developing skills and knowledge to serve effectively, increasing impact over time. Seeking feedback from recipients, learning what helps and what does not. Measuring or assessing impact, understanding whether contribution creates intended benefits, and adjusting approach based on results, improving effectiveness. Value addition ensures service creates genuine benefit, not just makes you feel helpful, while potentially burdening recipients with unwanted or ineffective help. The skills-based service leverages your strengths and abilities, creating contribution that only you or people with your capabilities can provide. Skills-based service might include using professional expertise like legal, financial, or technical skills for worthy causes. Teaching or mentoring in areas of knowledge or experience, creating art, writing, or media that serves causes or communities, organizing or managing projects or initiatives, or fundraising and resource development for organizations. Matching service to strengths creates greater impact while feeling more engaging and sustainable than generic tasks anyone could do. The reciprocity recognition understands that helping often benefits helper as much as helped through creating meaning, connection, and purpose. Research consistently shows that volunteers and helpers report increased well-being, happiness, and life satisfaction, suggesting that service is not sacrifice, but mutually beneficial exchange. Recognize reciprocity without diminishing by understanding. You can genuinely help while also receiving meaning and fulfillment. Accepting that benefiting from service does not make it selfish, and appreciating how helping others addresses your own needs for purpose and significance. The connection through service builds relationships and community through shared activity and common purpose. Service creates natural opportunities for meaningful connection with others who share values, providing both contribution and belonging, simultaneously addressing multiple sources of meaning. The proximity preference starts with helping people or causes close to you geographically or relationally. Local service includes volunteering in neighborhood or community, helping neighbors, friends, or family members, supporting local organizations or causes, or addressing issues affecting immediate community. Proximity creates accountability, visibility of impact, and sustainability through convenience. The sustainable service balance is helping with self-care, maintaining capacity for long-term contribution. Sustainable service includes setting boundaries on time and energy given, choosing service that energizes more than depletes, taking breaks when needed, preventing burnout, and recognizing that maintaining your well-being enables continued service. Burnout helps nobody. The implementation requires identifying specific contribution opportunities, matching abilities, engaging regular service, creating consistent practice, focusing on actual value addition, ensuring real help, leveraging skills for greater impact, recognizing reciprocal benefits, receiving as well as giving, building connection through shared service, starting with proximity, serving locally, maintaining sustainability through balance, and treating contribution as reliable meaning source where helping others generated immediate fulfillment, making service essential. 6. Framework for creating purpose through adding value and making positive difference. Create meaning through contribution and service. Help others add value. Serve meaningfully or focus solely on self. You understand now that helping others reliably creates meaning, that contribution validates worth and significance, that regular engagement builds identity, that effective service focuses on actual value, and that Chapter 6 provides service framework, making contribution possible where self-absorption perpetuated emptiness. Chapter 7. Experiment with different paths and possibilities. Chapter 7 experiments with different paths and possibilities, exploring various directions through active trial rather than passive contemplation. The experimentation power shows that purpose reveals itself through doing, not just thinking, because action provides real feedback about what fits versus endless analysis, creating paralysis. That trying different possibilities generates data and experience that clarifies what engages versus drains you, impossible to determine through imagination alone. That exploration requires accepting uncertainty and possibility of wrong turns, viewing experiments as information gathering, not permanent commitments. That many people remain stuck waiting for perfect clarity or guaranteed right answer, preventing any movement when actually movement itself creates clarity. And understanding that systematically experimenting with paths through exploration, testing, and discovery mindset is essential. 7th framework for finding purpose, because action breaks analysis paralysis, generating real experience that reveals fit, making experimentation critical method where passive waiting prevented discovery. That only comes through active engagement with possibilities. Experiment with different paths and possibilities. Try, explore, discover. Take action or remain paralyzed. The path exploration tests various directions and possibilities through small experiments and trials. Paths might include career domains or roles you have considered, creative pursuits or hobbies that interest you, service opportunities or causes you care about, educational programs or skill development, lifestyle changes or locations, relationship or community involvement, or entrepreneurial ventures or projects. Explore paths through informational interviews or job shadowing, learning about possibilities from those already pursuing them. Volunteering or interning in fields, testing whether reality matches imagination. Taking classes or workshops, sampling domains before major commitments. Starting side projects or hobbies, experimenting in low-stakes ways. Traveling or temporarily relocating, experiencing different environments. And joining groups or communities, trying different social contexts. Design experiments to be low commitment and reversible, enabling honest assessment without feeling trapped by choices. The possibility investigation actively seeks out and researches options you have not previously considered, expanding awareness beyond familiar choices. Investigation includes reading widely about different careers, lifestyles, or pursuits, attending events, talks, or conferences in various domains, connecting with diverse people whose paths differ from yours, taking personality or interest assessments, identifying potential fits, exploring emerging fields or opportunities not available when you last made choices, and consciously exposing yourself to different perspectives and possibilities. Many people feel stuck because they perceive limited options when actually vast range of possibilities exists, requiring active investigation to discover. The experimentation mindset adopts attitude of curiosity and discovery, viewing attempts as learning opportunities, not permanent decisions. Experimentation mindset includes framing trials as experiments generating data, not tests proving worth. Accepting that some experiments will not work, viewing failures as valuable information. Maintaining flexibility to pivot based on learning. Viewing yourself as researcher testing hypotheses about fit. And celebrating learning regardless of outcome. Mindset shift from trying to get it right to trying to learn what works reduces pressure, enabling authentic assessment. The small steps approach starts with minimal commitment experiments, building confidence before major changes. Small steps include spending few hours volunteering before committing to regular service, taking single class before enrolling in degree program, starting side project while maintaining job, traveling to location for visit before relocating, or training group for trial period before full involvement. Small steps provide information with minimal risk, enabling informed decisions. The multiple experiments parallel, running several small experiments simultaneously rather than sequentially testing one path at a time. Parallel experiments accelerate learning by providing comparison data showing relative engagement across options, prevent over-investing before confirmation of fit, and create portfolio of possibilities rather than single bet. Try 3 to 5 small experiments simultaneously, noting which engage you most. The authentic response tracking monitors genuine reactions during experiments rather than forcing positive interpretation. Track through journaling about energy engagement and authenticity during experiments, noting whether time passes quickly or drags, assessing whether activities energize or drain you, observing whether you feel authentic or performative, and comparing actual experience to expectations. Honest tracking prevents continuing ill-fitting paths because you think you should enjoy them. The pivot permission grants yourself freedom to change direction based on learning without viewing it as failure. Permission includes accepting that discovering what does not fit is as valuable as finding what does, understanding that paths that suited you at one time may not fit now, releasing sunk cost fallacy where past investment does not obligate continued commitment, and viewing changes as maturity and self-knowledge, not inconsistency. Permission to pivot enables honest assessment. The deadline decision setting establishes timeframe for experiments, preventing indefinite uncommitted exploration. Set deadlines like I will try this for 3 months then assess, creating accountability for evaluation without premature commitment. Deadlines enable both full engagement during trial and honest assessment at conclusion. The implementation requires exploring paths actively through trials and tests, investigating possibilities, expanding awareness beyond familiar, adopting experimentation mindset, viewing attempts as learning, taking small steps, minimizing risk, running multiple experiments, providing comparison, tracking authentic responses honestly, granting pivot permission based on learning, setting decision deadlines, creating assessment points, and treating experimentation as revealing purpose through action. Where passive contemplation prevented discovery that only comes through real engagement, making active exploration essential. 7th framework for finding fit through doing. Experiment with different paths and possibilities. Try, explore, discover. Take action or remain paralyzed. You understand now that purpose reveals through doing, not just thinking. That exploration generates clarifying data. That experimentation mindset reduces pressure. That small steps enable low-risk trials. And that Chapter 7 provides experimentation framework, making active discovery possible where passive waiting prevented movement. Chapter 8. Build purpose through daily practices and choices. Chapter 8 builds purpose through daily practices and choices, creating meaning incrementally through consistent small actions rather than waiting for grand revelation. The practice power shows that purpose is not single moment of discovery, but continuous creation through daily decisions and practices that align with values and contribute meaning. That waiting for clarity or perfect purpose before taking action creates paralysis, while taking meaningful action daily creates momentum and often reveals purpose through the doing. That small, consistent choices compound over time, creating life that feels purposeful through accumulated alignment, not single dramatic change. That daily practices provide structure and ritual that creates meaning through consistency and intention regardless of circumstances or achievements. And understanding that systematically building purpose through daily meaning creation, aligned choices, and consistent practices is essential. 8th framework for finding purpose, because incremental approach is accessible, achievable, and sustainable, where waiting for revelation prevented progress, making daily practice critical method for creating purposeful life through accumulating small meaningful actions. Build purpose through daily practices and choices. Create meaning incrementally, consistently. Act daily or wait passively. The daily meaning creation finds small purposes and meaningful actions available each day regardless of larger life circumstances. Daily meaning includes morning rituals, creating intentional start like meditation, gratitude practice, or setting intention for day. Acts of kindness or service throughout day, like helping others or contributing value. Mindful presence during routine activities, bringing full attention to moment. Creative expression, however brief, through writing, music, art, or making. Learning or growth activities, reading, practicing skills, or expanding knowledge. Connection and relationship time, being present with loved ones. Physical movement or nature time, engaging body and environment. Or evening reflection, reviewing day, acknowledging meaning, and setting tomorrow's intention. Daily practices provide immediate accessible meaning, not dependent on major life changes or achievements, creating sense of purpose available today, not someday. Establish practices that resonate with your values and bring sense of engagement. The choice alignment makes daily decisions consistent with core values and desired direction, creating integrity between stated purpose and lived reality. Aligned choices include evaluating decisions through values lens, asking, does this honor what matters most? Choosing activities that serve purpose over those that distract or deplete. Saying no to commitments that misalign with values, freeing time for what matters. Spending time and energy on relationships and activities that feel meaningful. And making consumption choices aligned with values, whether purchasing food or media. Choice alignment transforms abstract values into concrete daily reality, where each decision either moves toward or away from purposeful life. Track alignment through daily reflection, noting whether choices honored values. The practice consistency maintains regular engagement with purpose-building activities, creating habits and identity. Consistency means establishing non-negotiable routines for core practices, ensuring they happen regardless of mood or motivation. Scheduling purpose practices like appointments, protecting time from other demands. Tracking practice completion, creating accountability and awareness. Starting with minimal commitment, like 5 minutes daily, ensuring sustainability. And gradually expanding as practices become habitual. Consistency matters more than intensity, where daily 10-minute practice generates more cumulative meaning than occasional 2-hour session. Identity shifts when practices become who you are, not just what you do. The intention setting begins each day or activity with conscious purpose and awareness, creating deliberate engagement versus autopilot living. Set intention through morning practice, deciding what matters most today. Pausing before activities to clarify purpose, like before conversation, asking, what do I want to create here? And using transition moments between activities to reset intention. Intention transforms routine into ritual and distraction into deliberate choice. The micro-purposes identify small meaningful goals or contributions available within current circumstances. Micro-purposes include being fully present for single conversation, completing small creative project, helping one person in meaningful way, learning one new thing, making one healthy choice, or spending quality time with loved one. Micro-purposes provide immediate achievable meaning when larger purpose feels distant or unclear. The gratitude practice cultivates appreciation for present gifts and opportunities, shifting attention from what is missing to what exists. Daily gratitude includes noting 3 things you are grateful for each day, appreciating small pleasures and blessings, expressing thanks to people who help or support you, and recognizing opportunities available to you. Gratitude creates meaning through recognition of existing good. The reflection practice reviews daily experiences, extracting meaning and learning. Reflection includes evening journaling about meaningful moments, learnings, or gratitudes. Weekly review, assessing alignment between actions and values. Noting patterns in what created engagement versus what drained energy. And celebrating small wins and progress. Reflection makes meaning conscious and intentional. The purpose-building routines create structure that supports meaning through consistent practices. Routines might include morning practice, preparing mind and intention, work rituals, creating meaningful engagement with tasks, transition routines between roles or activities, connection rituals with loved ones, evening wind down, creating closure and reflection, or weekly review and planning. Routines provide scaffolding for purposeful living. The implementation requires creating daily meaning through small practices and rituals, aligning choices with core values consistently, maintaining practice consistency, building habits, setting clear intentions, directing awareness, identifying micro-purposes, providing immediate meaning, practicing gratitude, appreciating present, reflecting regularly, extracting learning, establishing purpose, building routines, creating structure, and treating daily practice as building purposeful life. Incrementally, where waiting for revelation prevented progress, making consistent small actions essential. Eighth framework for creating meaning through accumulated alignment. Build purpose through daily practices and choices. Create meaning incrementally, consistently. Act daily or wait passively. You understand now that purpose builds through daily actions, not single revelation. That small choices compound, creating purposeful life. That consistency matters more than intensity. That intention transforms routine into meaning. And that Chapter 8 provides daily practice framework, making incremental purpose building possible where passive waiting prevented accessible progress. Chapter 9. Heal wounds, blocking purpose connection. Chapter 9 heals wounds, blocking purpose connection, addressing trauma, depression, and pain that prevent engagement with meaning and life. The healing power shows that unresolved psychological wounds create barriers to purpose by depleting energy, numbing emotions, and disconnecting from authentic self, making meaning impossible until healing occurs. That trauma especially creates dissociation and survival focus that prevents higher level needs like purpose from being accessible until safety is established. That clinical depression removes neurological capacity for experiencing pleasure, meaning, or motivation, making purpose work futile without treating underlying mood disorder. That attempting to find purpose while carrying heavy unresolved pain is like trying to run marathon with broken leg, where treating injury must precede training. And understanding that systematically healing wounds through identification, processing, and professional treatment is essential. Ninth framework for finding purpose, because psychological health is prerequisite for accessing meaning where unhealed trauma or untreated depression create insurmountable barriers, making healing critical foundation, not optional addition before purpose discovery becomes possible. Heal wounds, blocking purpose connection. Address trauma, depression, pain. Heal blocks or remain disconnected. The wound identification recognizes specific psychological injuries or conditions blocking capacity for meaning and engagement. Wounds might include unresolved trauma from abuse, assault, loss, or other overwhelming experiences. Clinical depression or anxiety disorders, impairing mood and functioning. Grief from significant losses not fully processed. Childhood wounds from neglect, abandonment, or invalidation affecting self-worth and relationships. Addiction or substance dependence, numbing pain while preventing genuine engagement. Shame or guilt, creating self-rejection, preventing authentic connection. Or existential wounds from spiritual crisis or loss of faith. Identify wounds through honestly assessing whether trauma, depression, or significant pain is present. Recognizing whether emotional numbness or disconnection prevents experiencing joy or meaning. Noticing whether past experiences continue affecting present functioning. Screening for depression symptoms like persistent low mood, loss of interest, changes in sleep or appetite. And acknowledging whether coping mechanisms like substances, workaholism, or avoidance suggest underlying wounds. Recognition often requires courage to acknowledge pain you may have been minimizing or avoiding. The professional treatment seeks qualified help for trauma, depression, or other clinical conditions requiring expert intervention. Treatment includes therapy with licensed mental health professionals specializing in relevant issues like trauma-informed therapy for PTSD, cognitive behavioral therapy for depression or grief, counseling for loss, psychiatric evaluation and medication, if indicated, especially for clinical depression, anxiety, or other mood disorders where biological factors require medical treatment. Specialized programs for addiction, substance dependence, or eating disorders, and support groups providing peer support and shared healing. Professional treatment is not weakness, but appropriate response to clinical conditions beyond self-help capacity. Many people attempt to find purpose while suffering from treatable depression, creating unnecessary suffering when proper treatment would restore capacity for meaning. Seek help if experiencing suicidal thoughts, persistent low mood, inability to function, overwhelming anxiety, or other symptoms lasting weeks. The trauma processing works through past overwhelming experiences, enabling integration and reducing their power to control present. Processing includes trauma-focused therapy like EMDR or somatic experiencing with qualified trauma therapist. Gradually confronting traumatic memories in safe, controlled environment, allowing processing, understanding trauma's impact on nervous system and relationships, developing skills for managing trauma symptoms and triggers, and building safety and stability before processing, ensuring you have resources to handle intensity. Trauma processing is not quick or easy, but enables moving from survival to thriving, restoring capacity for purpose and meaning that trauma blocks. The grief work allows full feeling and processing of significant losses, enabling eventual integration and renewed engagement. Grief work includes acknowledging and accepting losses rather than minimizing or avoiding, allowing full range of feelings including sadness, anger, guilt, or relief without judgment. Creating rituals or practices honoring what was lost, gradually reinvesting in life and relationships while keeping connection to lost person or situation, and accepting that grief is not linear process with timetable. Complicated or prolonged grief may require professional grief counseling. The self-compassion practice treats yourself with kindness rather than harsh judgment about wounds, pain, or healing needs. Self-compassion includes recognizing that psychological wounds are injuries, not character flaws, accepting that healing takes time and cannot be rushed, being patient with yourself during difficult healing process, and treating yourself as you would treat a friend going through similar difficulty. Self-criticism intensifies suffering, while compassion enables healing. The safety establishment creates physical and psychological safety necessary for healing and growth. Safety includes removing yourself from actively harmful situations or relationships, establishing boundaries, protecting yourself from continued injury, building supportive relationships, providing safety and care, and creating stable life circumstances, reducing chaos. Healing requires safety that survival mode prevents. The body healing addresses physical aspects of trauma and stress through practices supporting nervous system regulation. Body work includes yoga or somatic practices, releasing stored trauma in body, exercise and movement releasing stress hormones, sleep and rest allowing nervous system recovery, nutrition supporting brain and body health, and practices like massage or acupuncture addressing physical manifestations. Trauma lives in body requiring physical healing. The meaning in suffering transformation eventually finds purpose through helping others with similar wounds, turning pain into service. Many people discover deep purpose through using healed wounds to support others facing similar challenges like recovery sponsors or advocates. Meaning in suffering is eventual possibility, not immediate requirement. The implementation requires identifying specific wounds, blocking purpose connection, seeking professional treatment for trauma, depression, or clinical conditions, processing traumatic experiences through qualified therapy, working through grief, fully allowing feeling and integration, practicing self-compassion during healing, establishing safety prerequisite for healing, addressing body-based trauma through somatic practices, eventually transforming suffering into service, and treating healing as essential foundation where unresolved pain prevented capacity for meaning-making professional help and dedicated healing work. Critical ninth framework. Before purpose discovery becomes psychologically possible. Heal wounds blocking purpose connection. Address trauma, depression, pain. Heal blocks or remain disconnected. You understand now that wounds block capacity for meaning requiring healing, that professional treatment is appropriate for clinical conditions, that trauma processing enables integration, that grief work allows eventual reinvestment, and that Chapter 9 provides healing framework making psychological readiness possible where unresolved pain prevented engagement. Chapter 10. Integrate all elements into comprehensive purposeful life. Chapter 10 integrates all life frameworks into comprehensive purposeful life, creating sustained meaning, fulfillment, and engagement across all dimensions. The integration principle shows that individual frameworks practiced in isolation create partial improvements, while comprehensive integration creates complete transformation from meaningless emptiness to rich, purposeful existence. That finding purpose requires simultaneous addressing of understanding, values, strengths, joy, transcendence, service, exploration, practice, and healing working together synergistically. That each framework enhances effectiveness of others through complementary mechanisms, creating multiplication, not mere addition of benefits. That most people address single aspect, like exploring values, while neglecting others like healing wounds, creating incomplete transformation that eventually collapses. And understanding that integrating all 9 frameworks into cohesive purposeful living system is essential 10th and final framework for sustained meaning, because only complete integration creates the comprehensive transformation from existential emptiness to deeply fulfilling, engaged life where partial practice remained vulnerable to relapse into meaninglessness, making integration critical culmination, creating purpose that sustains through challenges and transitions. Integrate all elements into comprehensive, purposeful life. Combine synergistically, create meaning, build complete purpose, or remain partially fulfilled. The purpose architecture maps how all 9 frameworks combine, creating coherent, integrated, meaningful existence. Understanding from Framework 1 provides foundation and compassion. Values from Framework 2 create internal compass and direction. Strengths from Framework 3 reveal natural capabilities. Joy from Framework 4 indicates alignment and sustainability. Transcendence from Framework 5 connects to larger significance. Service from Framework 6 creates tangible contribution. Experimentation from Framework 7 reveals fit through action. Daily practice from Framework 8 builds meaning incrementally. Healing from Framework 9 removes blocks, enabling engagement. Each framework supports, enables, and enhances others, creating integrated system far more powerful than individual techniques, creating genuine, comprehensive, purposeful life. The synergistic multiplication recognizes how frameworks amplify each other's effectiveness, creating exponential growth in meaning. Understanding why meaninglessness occurs reduces shame, enabling exploration. Values clarity guides strength development and service choices. Strengths enable effective contribution and joyful engagement. Joy makes daily practice sustainable and experimentation engaging. Transcendence provides context for service. Service creates immediate meaning while experimenting. Experimentation reveals values and strengths. Daily practice implements all frameworks. Healing enables accessing all other frameworks. Consciously leverage synergies, applying multiple frameworks together, recognizing combinations create effects individual elements cannot achieve alone, creating cascade of meaning generation. The phased integration recognizes complete transformation requires sustained commitment, making strategic progression essential. Foundation phase months 1 to 3 focuses frameworks 1 through 3, building understanding values and strengths. Exploration phase months 4 to 6 and frameworks 4 through 6, discovering joy, transcendence, and service. Implementation phase months 7 to 9 integrates frameworks 7 and 8, experimenting and practicing daily. Healing phase ongoing addresses framework 9, working through wounds. Integration phase months 10 to 12 combines all elements into cohesive system. Complete transformation typically requires 1 year of sustained, deliberate practice, creating genuinely comprehensive, purposeful life. The balanced attention maintains engagement across all framework areas, rather than obsessively focusing on single dimension. Complete purpose requires adequacy across all dimensions, not perfection in one area. Establish practice in all areas, identify lacking elements, and maintain comprehensive, balanced development, ensuring no weak points undermine overall meaning. The personalized adaptation recognizes optimal approach varies individually, requiring customization based on specific needs and circumstances. Different people emphasize different frameworks, adapting to situation. Complete development includes all areas with flexible emphasis. The purpose evolution acceptance recognizes purpose changes across life stages, requiring ongoing exploration and integration. What provides meaning at 20 may differ from 40 or 60. Accept evolution as natural, requiring periodic reassessment and integration of new frameworks. The resilience building through integration creates purpose that sustains through difficulties, transitions, and losses. Integrated purpose has multiple sources, meaning that if one diminishes, others sustain. Diversified meaning creates resilience. The implementation requires designing comprehensive purpose architecture, integrating all 9 frameworks synergistically, recognizing and leveraging multiplying synergies between elements, integrating progressively through phased year-long approach, maintaining balanced attention across all dimensions, adapting personalization based on needs, accepting purpose evolution across life, building resilience through diversified meaning, and treating integration as creating complete transformation. From existential emptiness to deeply fulfilling, engaged, purposeful life, where partial practice remained vulnerable, making comprehensive integration essential. 10th framework for sustained meaning. You have learned 10 frameworks for finding purpose when everything feels meaningless. Framework 1, understanding existential meaninglessness. Framework 2, exploring core values. Framework 3, identifying natural strengths. Framework 4, discovering what brings joy. Framework 5, connecting to larger purpose. Framework 6, creating meaning through service. Framework 7, experimenting with paths. Framework 8, building purpose daily. Framework 9, healing wounds. Framework 10, integrating into purposeful life. What matters now is applying one framework today. 5 immediate priorities. Explore one core value that matters deeply, identifying what is fundamentally important. Identify one natural strength or talent, discovering what you do well. Notice one activity that brings you joy or makes you feel alive. Find one way to contribute or serve others, creating immediate meaning. Take one small experimental action, trying possible path. Start immediately, explore consistently, find your purpose. Stop drifting in meaningless emptiness and start living with clear purpose, deep fulfillment, and genuine engagement with life. Stop feeling hollow and start feeling alive through discovering or creating meaning that resonates with your authentic self and connects you to something larger. Explore frameworks systematically, integrate comprehensively, and find your purpose through unwavering commitment, starting right now today.